signed in, first come, first served. Should I go ahead and read these, the withdrawn cases? Okay. All right, I'll go ahead and read out the cases that have been withdrawn. All right, there's quite a few of them, so bear with me here. We have DEL 23-265, Massey case. We have DEL 23-268, also a Massey case, A and B. DEL 24-015, DEL 24-016, DEL 24-018, DEL 24-020, DEL 24-021, DEL 24-024, DEL 24-026, DEL 24-027, DEL 24-029, DEL 24-030. Those have all been withdrawn as in compliance. I'm sorry, but 23-265 is continued. Then we have 24-031, which is continued, DEL 24-033, which will be continued, Fire 24-015 continued, and Fire 23-024 withdrawn as in compliance. So if you are here for any of those case numbers that I just read out, you do not need to stay. I will go ahead and swear in everyone who intends to testify today as a group, which includes the code enforcement officers. So if you intend to speak to me today, please stand, raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? If so, please say I do. Thank you. All right, I have no ex parte communications to disclose, and we have approved the agenda and minutes, or the agenda as I just modified it with the withdrawn and continued cases, so we can get started. All right, this is case Fire 23-023, Massey case 55 Cortland Boulevard. Thank you.
Good evening. For the record, my name is Samuel Schaller. I'm employed by the City of Deltona as the Assistant Fire Marshal. This will be case number Fire-023-2023. This City of Deltona versus Dollar Tree Stores, Inc. Property address is 55 Cortland Boulevard, Deltona, Florida, 32738. Parcel ID is 81306000030. This is a Massey case. Statutory requirements for notification of this hearing have been met by the notice of hearing and notice of code violation were sent certified mail to the property owner at the address listed with the property appraiser's records. In addition, both notices were posted at City Hall and on the property at least 10 days prior to this hearing. All of the evidence in this case, including the photographs, have been marked as exhibits and submitted to the special magistrate clerk. I certify any and all photographs to be true and accurate portrayals of what I observed on the day they were taken. This was initially a case for a violation of Chapter 42, Article 4, Fire Codes, Chapter 42-186, which adopts the latest edition of the Florida Fire Prevention Code, in specific, the Florida edition of NFPA 1 Fire Code, Section 1.7.12.8, which requires a permit to be issued prior to the alteration of the fire protection systems of any building. It was ruled on 11/29/2023 that the property owner was given 45 days to comply. The owner did not come into compliance within those 45 days and has been receiving a fine of $25 per day since January 13th, 2024. No permits have been issued and the cellular communicator is still installed. As of today, the property has accrued a fine of $1,150 over 46 days. In closing, the city is requesting that the fines continue at $25 per day until such property owner has notified the city of compliance, and compliance is verified by a fire safety inspector.
Thank you, Mr. Schaller. So this was related to obtaining a building permit for the installation of a wireless cellular fire alarm communicator, correct?
That's correct, Your Honor.
And no permit application was submitted?
A permit application was applied for on November 27, 2023. A review was conducted on the same day. There was slight correspondence between our office and the contractor, but no response to comments was ever received.
Okay. And so, obviously, the permit was not issued.
That's correct.
Okay. Is the respondent here? Or is this on Zoom? Okay.
Hello, Your Honor. This is Austin Palambizio for Dollar Tree at 55 Cortland Avenue. We're not disputing anything today that the deputy fire marshal has to say. We know that it's a third-party issue, the contractor, and not my clients. I've spoken to the deputy fire marshal, and we should have the permit closed out by 1 to 2 weeks. I've been in touch with the corporate for Dollar Tree, and they've reached out to the contractor multiple times, but we hope to get this finished and squared away.
Okay, and it was difficult to hear you. It's quite a little garbled, the noise. So I just want to make sure I understood you. You said you did not dispute what Mr. Schaller said?
No, we're not disputing today. We are just informing this hearing that the permit has been applied for, and we're working to obtain it with our third-party contractor.
Thank you. All right. I find that the notices were properly given in this case, and I'm admitting the case file as an exhibit. I find that respondent in this case failed to correct the violation by the time specified in the special magistrate's prior order in this case, and the fine will be imposed as set forth in that order and will continue to run until the property is brought into compliance and an affidavit of compliance has been filed by the code inspector. Respondent shall notify the code inspector to verify compliance. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Please make sure you stay in touch with Mr. Schaller as soon as you have got the permit issued, and so he knows that you've come into compliance.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, this is fire case 24-0018.
For the record, my name is Samuel Schaller. I'm employed by the City of Deltona as the Assistant Fire Marshal. This will be case number fire 24-0018, the City of Deltona versus 2320 North Normandy SP LLC. Property address is 2320 North Normandy Boulevard, Deltona, Florida 32725. Parcel ID is 811-805-000020. This is a violation of City of Deltona Ordinance, Chapter 42, Article 4, Fire Codes, Chapter 42-186, which adopts the most recent edition of the Florida Fire Prevention Code as adopted by the State Fire Marshal, which contains the Florida-specific version of NFPA 1 Fire Code, Section 18.2.2.2, which states the AHJ authority having jurisdiction shall have the authority to require fire department access be provided to gated subdivisions or developments through the use of an approved device or system. NFPA 1 18.2.2.3, which states that the owner or occupant of a structure or area with required fire department.
I'm sorry, can I pause right here? So this, I only have on the agenda violations for 18.2.2, and 1.7.12.10, and 10.11.1.6.
Let me review the... I apologize. That was a typographical error on my part.
Okay,
This will simply be a violation of Section 18.2.2.2 and NFPA 1, Chapter 1.7.12.10, which states no construction work shall proceed until the AHJ has reviewed the plans for compliance with the applicable codes and standards and the applicable permits have been issued. The mentioned violation of NFPA 1, Chapter 10.11.1.6 has been corrected prior to this hearing.
okay, so 10.11.1.6 has been corrected.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, and let me just, because the agenda says 18.2.2. So I think just one of the last two, I think, was left off, but it appears to me that it was all correct on the notice of violation. Just give me one moment. Okay. All right. Okay. It appears that the notice of hearing still said 18.2.2, but it did attach the notice of violation, which had the correct citation. So go ahead and proceed, Mr. Schaller.
Okay. Corrective action for said violations is to obtain a permit for the installation of the newly installed access control devices and Yelp function on the north gate, repair the Knox key switch on the south side gate to function again, and repair the Yelp gate opening function on the north gate to function once more, and provide a Yelp gate opening function on the south gate. For a little clarification, when I say a Yelp gate opening function, that's a control box that's attached to the motor of an electronic gate that would provide access into a gated subdivision, or in this case, a storage facility, that allows us to use our siren to open the gate in the event of an emergency. Statutory requirements for notification of this hearing have been met by notice of hearing and notice of code violations were sent certified mail to the property owner at the address listed with the property appraiser's records. In addition, both notices were posted on the property and at City Hall at least 10 days prior to this hearing. All of the evidence in this case, including the photographs, have been marked as exhibits and submitted to the special magistrate clerk. I certify any and all photographs to be true and accurate portrayals of what I observed on the day they were taken. On September 22nd, 2023, Fire Safety Inspector Lisa Nadeau conducted an inspection at this location in which she observed the previously permitted and approved gate access control system had been replaced with a new access control system, and that the access control system to grant access into the building had been replaced. Upon research, there was no permit on file for this replacement. In addition, the Yelp gate opening functions on both gates appear to have been removed. By replacing the access control device on the gate, this also rendered the Knox key switch on the south side of the gate non-functional, which allows emergency vehicles to egress from the gated area. Upon review, there was also no permit for this gate access control system to have been modified. Subsequent follow-up inspections on 10/31/2023, 1/16/2024, and 1/26/2024 found that no corrections had been made and no permit had been applied for. A follow-up inspection on February 27, 2024, found that the Yelp gate opening function was installed on the north gate to the complex. However, upon testing with my vehicle's siren, this device did not function. As of today's date, no permit for the access control system had been issued, and neither gate is equipped with a functioning Yelp gate opening device, and the Knox key switch on the south side gate is still non-functional. It's important to note that all of these features were required as part of the approved site plan for the storage facility from August of 2017, which I was able to acquire. I do have to submit to the special magistrate if you wish. In closing, the city would like to request 30 days for the property to come into compliance with the remainder of the violations, or a fine of $50 per day until such time that the property owner has notified the city of compliance.
I'm sorry, you said $25?
$25 per violation
Per
for a total of
violation.
$50.
Is this one of the ones, though, that are hard to separate? I mean, they didn't get a permit. 1.7.12.10 is about not getting a permit for the change of the gate, right? And the gate doesn't comply.
For the access control for the gate and into the building. I believe that obtaining a permit will rectify both issues at once, because it will obtain the permit, and then it'll also ensure that the system was installed properly.
Right.
And then it'll also allow us access to provide full functional testing for the system.
Yeah. So it would make sense to me to have one fine, I think, in this case, for 50.
I have no objection to that, Your Honor.
Yeah. Okay. And then this is the, can you walk me through the pictures very quickly?
Yes, Your Honor. I'm going
today?
to walk over to the screen just for ease of pointing.
Okay.
This is one of the newly installed access control devices. As we can see here, that is where on the bottom.
Yeah. Can we have, sorry, can we have you take the microphone with you? Thank you.
On the bottom here is where the former Knox key switch was, which was moved up there. This is the northern gate, which does function with the Knox key switch. It just doesn't function with the Yelp gate opening function, which is shown on the inside of the gate. The keypad itself is what was installed without a permit. If we could go to the next picture, please. This is the access control device that was installed on the building without the issuance of a permit. This is inside the building, another access control device. This is on the southern gate, another access control device that was added and then, or replaced. And then right below it is the Knox key switch. That Knox key switch does not function, which does not allow us to egress out of that facility with our emergency vehicles if we were to have to. If we could go to picture number 6, please. Picture number 6 shows that the Yelp system was installed on the northern gate. However, this does not function.
Okay, thank you. All right, so there's several points on the property where they have changed the access gates or systems.
That would be correct.
Okay, all right, thank you. Is the property owner here? All right, would you like to come forward?
Hello, Your Honor.
Hi, can you please state your name and address for the record, please?
Sure. Michael Trout. Address is 2320 North Normandy, Deltona.
Okay, and are you the business owner?
I'm a district manager.
District
with
manager,
Northwest,
okay.
Yes.
All right, what would you like to tell me about the case?
I'm in agreement with everything that the fire marshal's stating. We are in the process of working with our vendor. The Yelp system was recently installed, and it's not working. They were out yesterday trying to get it remedied. I'm in agreement with the 30 days. That'd be great. My question, I guess, would be the fine. Would that be going forward after the 30 days allowance?
Correct, and so, Mr. Schaller, you had recommended 30 days?
That's correct, Your Honor.
Okay, yes, so the 30 days, there would be no fine during that 30 days.
Got
But
it.
if you fail to come into compliance by the deadline, that's when the fines would start to
Right, so
accrue.
the vendor's aware of all of the issues that we have going, as well as the permit. So we're going to rectify that within 30 days.
Okay. All right, thank you. I'm going to find that the notices were properly given in this case. I'm admitting the case file as an exhibit. I find respondent in this case in violation of the city code as charged, and that respondent correct the violation before 4:00 p.m. on March 29th, 2024, which is 30 days.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
In the event respondent does not comply by this date, a fine in the amount of $50 per day will be imposed for each day the violations continue past the aforestated date. Respondent is further ordered to contact the code inspector to verify compliance with this order. So please make me.
Good evening. My name is Steve Brokoff, employee with the City of Deltona as a Code and Compliance Officer. This will be case number DE. Difficulties, I guess, in contacting him possibly or getting something done through him.
Recommendation
Well, the
on time.
recommendations the city would like is to allow at least 30 days to possibly come in compliance. Maybe the contractor's running slow, at which time a $25 per day fine to be imposed.
Okay. Is the property owner here?
To do what needs to be done on her behalf. I am asking
Clock PM on, I'm going to say April 29th. That's actually 61 days, I think, but April 29th.
with a maximum of 2 occurrences per year per lot. Spoke to the male property owner on that same day and advised him that the Connex box must be removed from the lot. On March 20th, 2023, I advised the...
Thank you. Okay. Is the property owner here? Okay. You want to come forward?
For the years, I bought the property, and then I try to do for the years, I bought the property, and then I try to do the right thing. I started cleaning the property, the brushes and stuff, and then I had issues with my neighbor in the back of chaos. I just don't even want to be in that area. I don't want the property no more because I had too many hassles, and I'm in the process of selling the property. I don't have a way to get it out. I'm trying to do the same thing the previous buyer did to me. I'm trying to sell it with the Connex in the lot because I tried many ways to get it out of there. First, I didn't have that paved road there when I got into these violations, and everybody that was coming out here was like, oh no, we'll never get it out of here because the dirt's too soft. So I went and got the road done, tried to get it out, and when I got a hold of somebody, they say that the weight of the tow truck that has to pull that thing out of there, it's that road that is in there now, it's not going to hold the weight of the semi-truck. So it's going to cause problems trying to go in there and get that thing out of where it's at, where it's been for years. It's stuck there. So at this point, my plans, what I had for this property, I was trying to build my future home in it, and everything's just gone south. I'm not looking forward to building there no more. I want to sell it so I could put all this behind me and just leave that area. I mean, this is my first time being an owner, and I just never thought that owning this much land, 4 acres, you cannot have a boat, trailers in it. It's just new to me as a home buyer. And I thought that by me buying more land, I'm able to do these things. I'm finding out the hard way that I can't. But I don't understand, if this thing's been there since 2017, 2018, with all location, where's that? It's in the market as we speak. I have 2 potential buyers. Today, I had a 3rd potential buyer to look at the property. I don't know where I stand with that. When I leave here, I'm gonna call my agent. But that's where I'm at, Your Honor. I mean, there's nothing else I could do. I was told to get rid of the animals in the beginning. I did. I was told to clean up, move a trailer, the boat. Nothing's there no more, Your Honor, by the way. It's just that Connex by itself, sitting there right now at this moment. Everything that was taken out of there, my boat, I had some trailers there. Everything was moved. I even shot her an email with photos the same day that I did it, Connex out of there.
Okay, I have a couple questions. So Is this property residentially zoned?
Yes.
Okay. And is there a definition of a temporary portable storage unit in the code?
I do not have it with me.
All right. I just want to take a look at that.
I put, man, for the record, I even posted it for free, and people came and look at it, and they just don't want to take the chance of getting the vehicle stuck in there.
I'm just wondering, I mean, this doesn't seem to be the typical pod, right, that this
Correct.
ordinance would typically apply to. And, I mean, I guess I'm not familiar with Connex boxes. Are they they look almost like a shipping container to me?
It is a shipping
Yeah.
container, man.
Okay, that's what it is? Okay.
Yes.
All right, so that's, I think what you're saying is that's probably much heavier than the normal pod.
Correct. So it needs a heavy equipment, a truck to pull it out of there.
Is there anything stored in it?
It was at one point. It's empty now because I was being advertised for free, but nobody wants to bite on it because of the risk of getting stuck. I mean, it's been there, man, before I even purchased the property. It goes back to 2017, and there's aerial footage of boats just laying around there, cars next to it, and then when I bought the property, I cleaned everything out myself. I took the old boats that was abandoned there. I took the cars out of there. I cleaned the whole lot. This property does not look nothing. I put about $60,000 in this property cleaning it when I bought it, and I took the initiative of cleaning out all the other stuff that was left behind. It came useful for me. It was already on the lot, so I started using it because I was planning to build my house there. So I was going to start using it and put my storage stuff there for like temporary fence line or whatever I'm going to use material to build my home there. So it came in handy. I didn't have to buy a storage container. I already had one in the lot. And for the record, Your Honor, I do have permits pulled for this construction that I was proposed to do, but I canceled everything.
Okay.
The electrical permits were pulled. I was going to start construction on this job site, but I froze everything. I just don't want to deal with it any further. I'm going somewhere further out of city limits, getting away from all this. This is my
Do
first
you have photos that you want to show me?
I got this black and white, ma'am. I would like to bring up.
Yeah,
But
we'll have someone come get it from you.
this is the container. These are all the boats and stuff next to it that was there.
Okay.
Okay.
Is there any kind of foundation or anything that this is resting on, or it's just resting on the ground?
It's the people who put it there. It looks like tree logs. It's sitting on top of tree logs, but over the years, it must have just the weight from the weight. It just keeps settling down,
Okay.
That circle
Yes.
over there is supposed to be the Connex box.
Yes. Okay, so these are aerial photographs that you're handing me.
Prior to me buying this property, where everything it was already on site. Wish I could have put
Yep.
them on color, but
I see 2018. This one is not labeled. It's one of four. Are you
that's
saying?
recent. That's the front of the entrance of my property.
Okay, that's
Yes,
recent
the front
photo?
entrance, yes.
All right, so we got 2018, 2019, 2020. Yeah, I mean, I find this to be difficult because I understand what you're saying, that it's going to be extremely difficult to remove it. But I believe that this would be considered a temporary portable storage unit. It is portable. It's not even, on any kind of foundation other than logs from what you've told me, and it's used for storage. So, I think that there is a violation here. I think the only thing that I could do is try to provide additional time, for you to remove it. It's obviously been here for quite a long time. That might give you the opportunity to, potentially sell it, as you said, to someone who might have more resources to actually get it moved. I don't know if the city wants to comment any further on it, but.
Yeah, we are perfectly fine giving more time. The goal is just to get it removed, and if an investment company can do that, then that would be ideal.
Okay.
Excuse, I got a question, man.
Yes.
So, like I said, I'm new to this, I'm sorry. There's no way of this big of a lot, these many acres, that container cannot be, that's not bothering nobody. I'm not understanding what seems to be the violation. There's no complaints being filed from none of the neighbors, nobody. She happened to go there doing a different violation and saw that after they closed the first violation. I did everything I can on my behalf with everything else. I even tried to put I put the road there. I try to get it out of there. So I'm not trying to violate no rules or anything like that. But I want to know, I'm trying to gain knowledge on my end to where this is unheard of for me, having a big piece of lot like this, when the neighbor's not even complaining, they live there. No one's complaining, but then this came out of nowhere. This violation came out of nowhere. So that's where I'm lost at this case. Okay?
Yeah. Well, I mean, the code provides that, as has been described, there's limits on the amount of time that you can have a portable storage unit on residential property. That's why I asked if this was residential. There's no exception for it being vacant. So, regardless of whether or not there were, neighbors complaining, it is a violation of the city code that needs to be corrected. So, like I said, really, I think the only thing that I can do to, is try to give you additional time, longer than I would typically give, frankly, to try and work out a way for it to be removed. So I think that's what I'm going to do. And so I think let's discuss the time. So would the city be willing to do, I could either do 90 days or, I could do up to 6 months. What is the city's recommendation on that?
I would prefer 90 days, but I'm willing to do 6 months if that's what it takes to get the Connex box removed.
Okay. Mr. Ron, did you want to comment on that?
I would stick to the 90, ma'am.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna do kind of in the middle. Renee, can you tell me what would be, let's do 4 months? Can you give me a date?
June 28th, 2024.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to find that the notices were properly given in this case. I'm going to admit the case file as an exhibit. I'm also going to admit as a separate exhibit may I keep these? Do you need these?
I don't need those, ma'am.
I'm sorry?
No, you can keep them.
Keep them? Okay, so I'm going to admit also the aerial photos and the recent photo. So let's do Exhibit B as the 3 aerial photos from 2018, 19, and 2020, and then C is his recent photo of the property. Okay. So I'm going to find respondent in this case in violation of the city code as charged, and that respondent correct the violation before 4:00 p.m. on June 28th, 2024. In the event respondent does not comply with the state, a fine in the amount of $25 per day will be imposed for each day the violation continues past the aforestated date. Respondent is further ordered to contact the code inspector to verify compliance with this order. So, like I said, please stay in contact with the code inspector. And, you know, we provided you, I think, with as much time as I think is reasonable to try to correct the issue.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Yep. All right, this is case 24-022-2888 Beale Street, 2888 Beale Street. Good evening.
Good evening. My name is Janice Palasic, and I am employed by the City of Deltona as a code compliance officer. This will be case number DEL 24-022, the City of Deltona versus Emmanuel G. and Leticia Alamo. The property address is 2888 Beale Street. The parcel ID number is 813-032-260-180. This is a violation of City of Deltona Ordinance Section 18-3, adopting the latest edition of the Florida Building Code, Section 105.1, which states that any owner, authorized agent who intends to construct, enlarge, alter, repair, move, demolish, or change the occupancy of a building or structure, or to erect, install, enlarge, alter, repair, remove, convert or replace any electrical, gas, mechanical, or plumbing system, the installation of which is regulated by this code, or to cause any such work to be done, shall first make application to the building official and obtain the required permit. Corrective action for said violation is to obtain a permit for the wall. The statutory requirements for notification of this hearing have been met by: the notice of hearing and notice of code violation were sent certified mail to the property owner at the address listed with the property appraiser's records. In addition, both notices were posted on the property and at City Hall at least 10 days prior to this hearing. All evidence of this case, including photographs, have been marked as exhibits and submitted to the special magistrate clerk. I certify any and all photographs to be true and accurate portrayals of what I observed on the day that they were taken. On September 14th, 2023, after closing a case on this property for a boarded-up window, I noted that when the board was taken down, there was cement in the area that used to be a window. Attempt to make contact with the resident was unsuccessful. I proceeded to leave a door hanger with the violation as well as the corrective action. On October 12th, 2023, after having no contact with the homeowners, I posted the notice of violation to the property. Property owner Emmanuel then contacted me as well as the building department in regards to what needed to be done for obtaining a permit. On February 9th, 2024, I confirmed that there was still no permit on file for the work that was done. A notice of hearing was posted to the property, as well as an affidavit of service was completed. As of today, February 28th, 2024, there is still no permit on file for the work that was done to the exterior wall. The city would like to request 30 days for the property to come into compliance, or a fine of $25 per day to be imposed until such time that the property owner has notified the city of compliance.
Okay. Is the property owner here? Come forward. Can you state your name and address for the record?
Letitia Alamo, 2888 Beale Street, Deltona, Florida, 32738.
Okay. What would you like to tell me about the case?
I drove through my window that was there. The fire department came out and inspected to make sure that there was structurally sound. We boarded up the window because obviously there was a hole where it was. We got some quotes and we were told that the window was going to be an extra $500, that it would be cheaper to just fill in the wall, basically. Being that it was not load bearing or anything of the sorts, we went ahead and went with that option. We had a very strenuous battle on trying to get people to come out and actually do the job after we gave the deposit, so it took a lot of time to get our money back, and that, hey, this window or the boarding needs to come down, the wall needs to be fixed, otherwise you guys will be fined. I contacted my father, who was in construction at that point, kind of panicked, saying, hey, I really need some help, sent him the money for the materials, and had him come out and fix the wall for us. We come back and we get the notice that, hey, this didn't have a permit, so get a permit. They extended us time. My husband's been in constant communication with Janice, which we appreciate. The problem being, I tried to apply for a permit. Nobody would do the drawings. We tried to submit, and it's saying basically, hey, we don't have a problem. You have the right to repair your own home, but we needed to have an engineer do the drawings. We have been, I can't even tell you how many.
Absolute holy hell, Your Honor.
Anyways, numerous ones. I even have some where we're in communications with trying to get someone to come out and do the drawing so that we could submit for the application. At this time, we know that we are still in violation. Janice told us, I think a couple weeks ago, that if we put the window back in, that we could obtain a regular permit and we wouldn't need engineering drawings. Obviously, the problem is it is a wall, so we will have to bust out the wall to put a window back in. I was out of work for 9 months, would you say? And so I did get reemployed in September, and we're trying to get out of the hole. We have our taxes. I checked. TurboTax was supposed to be getting some money coming into us in the first week of March. Our strategy is that we will just have to put that into the wall if no one will sign off on the drawings, because you guys have been patient with us and we appreciate that. We're not trying to string you along. I promise you we are desperately working to find people. So I'm asking for 60 days if possible, because I don't know, number one, we need to find a person that would bust out the wall again and put the window back in, and I don't know what that entails, because at this point we've really been trying not to go that route and to just get someone to sign off on the doggone drawings so that we could apply for the permit that you guys have requested.
Okay. For the city, do you have any opposition to 60 days?
No, I have no objections.
No objection to that? Okay. Yeah, I'm willing to give 60 days. I mean, it seems that you have worked at least as diligently as you can to try to correct the problem from what you've described. So, did you have anything else you needed to add?
No.
Okay, all right. I find that the notices were properly given in this case. I'm admitting the case file as an exhibit. I find respondent in this case in violation of the city code as charged, and that respondent correct the violation before 4:00 p.m. on, that would be April 29th. In the event respondent does not comply by the state, a fine in the amount of $25 per day will be imposed for each day the violation continues past the aforestated date. Respondent is further ordered to contact the code inspector to verify compliance with this order. So please make sure you stay in contact with her.
Thank you.
Okay, this is Fire 24-0017, 2820 Doyle Road. I don't see them.
Good evening, Your Honor.
Good evening.
For the record, my name is Samuel Schaller. I'm employed by the City of Deltona as the Assistant Fire Marshal. This will be case number Fire 24-0017, the City of Deltona versus JDH Properties, LLC. The property address is 2820 Doyle Road, Suite 12, Deltona, Florida, 32738. Parcel ID is 91104000010. This is a violation of City of Deltona Ordinance, Chapter 42, Article 4, Fire Codes, Chapter 42-186, which adopts the most recent edition of the Florida Fire Prevention Code as adopted by the State Fire Marshal, which contains the Florida-specific version of NFPA 1 Fire Code, Section 1.7.12.10, which states no construction work shall proceed until the authority having jurisdiction has reviewed the plans for compliance with the applicable codes and standards and the applicable permits have been issued. NFPA 1, Chapter 1.15.1, which states that the AHJ shall be permitted to require review by an approved independent third party with expertise in the matter to be reviewed at the submitter's expense. NFPA 1, Chapter 13.3.3.2, which states a sprinkler system installed in accordance with this code shall be inspected, tested, and maintained in accordance with NFPA 25. NFPA 1, Chapter 13.1.8, which requires all fire protection systems and devices shall be maintained in a reliable operating condition, shall be replaced or repaired where defective or recalled. I'd like to note something. There's a discrepancy between the on the notice of hearing, notice of violation. There was a typographical error regarding the code reference, NFPA 1, Chapter 10.18.1. If you see that, Your Honor, the 8 is supposed to be a 9. However, the body of the text that's cited and the corrective action remains the same. And due to the fact that this is I can't harp enough how much of an imminent threat to life safety and public welfare this is. We're requesting that that violation still be heard and the typographical error be made clear during this hearing.
Okay, so you're saying it should say 10.19.1?
That's correct, Your Honor.
Okay, so can you tell me what that provision, what that requires, that section?
That provision requires that the storage of combustible materials shall be orderly, which goes on to state that they shall not be stored where they can obstruct means of egress, cause difficulty during firefighting efforts, interfere with other life safety systems, simply in an orderly manner when you have combustible items, furniture, cardboard, things of that nature.
Okay.
Corrective,
And so all right, so on the notice of violation, or in the notice of hearing, it has 18. Or is it on the notice of violation, 19?
Both of them, it has 18. Under the previous edition, so on December 31st, 2023, the Florida Fire Prevention Code went into the 8th edition. When the 8th edition came into effect, that code number changed, and that's what resulted in this typo.
Okay. And so were all of the, because I have obviously a pretty thick file here
Yes, Your Honor.
of inspection notes. So as you were inspecting them, was the code section 10.18.1 at that point?
It was, yes, Your Honor. When we
And then it changed?
Yes.
Okay. So while the inspections occurred,
The
that
code-
was the correct code citation?
Yes, Your Honor. And on the
Okay.
fire inspection reports, it does reflect the correct code citation.
Okay.
Also attached to the notice of violation, when it was sent through certified mail and posted to the property, the fire inspection report, which had the 10.18.1, was also attached. It should be in exhibit, I believe it'll either be A or C. We had to have, due to the immense amount of violations in the property, it resulted in having 2 separate fire inspection reports.
Okay. All right, I'm going to hear from the respondents, but go ahead and present further if you're going to do that.
Thank you. Corrective action for these said violations would be to obtain a permit for the newly installed emergency lighting, provide a technical analysis prepared by a registered design professional with an analysis of the hazards present with the occupancy and whether or not the changes to the amount of storage within or to the building's fire protection systems are required, including an evaluation of the fire sprinkler system's capability for the extinguishment of the storage throughout the occupancy, including water supply, in accordance with NFPA 25, Chapter 4.1.6 through 4.1.6.2. Remove all stored furniture and objects within 18 inches of the sprinkler head deflector and replace the missing escutcheon plates on the sprinkler head in the southeast portion of the store. Remove all furniture, decorations, and other obstructions covering fire alarm notification devices and provide an orderly manner of storage for all combustible materials. The statutory requirements for notification of this hearing have been met. The notice of hearing and notice of code violations were sent certified mail to the property owner at the address listed with the property appraiser's records. In addition, both notices were posted on the property and at City Hall at least 10 days prior to this hearing. All of the evidence in this case, including the photographs, have been marked as exhibits and submitted to the special magistrate clerk. Certify any and all photographs to be true and accurate portrayals of what I observed on the day they were taken. On April 17, 2023, Fire Safety Inspector Lisa Nadeau conducted a fire inspection at this location in response to a new business tax receipt application which had been filed. Amongst other violations which have since been corrected, she observed multiple deficiencies regarding the fire sprinkler system, such as missing escutcheon plates and storage too close to the fire sprinkler heads within 18 inches of the deflector. She also observed a heavy amount of furniture, mattresses, couch cushions, and other general home furnishings stored throughout the store, presenting a heavy fire load inside of the building and obstructing means of egress. Due to the heavy fire load, furniture, mattresses, and other items not commonly stored within a grocery store, within the space which was formerly utilized as a grocery store, was requested an evaluation of the fire sprinkler system's capability for water supply in the event of a fire was conducted by a fire sprinkler contractor. The fire sprinkler contractor, Shield Fire Protection, conducted an evaluation and stated that there was no hazard change and no changes were needed to the fire sprinkler system. However, moving forward, the amount of storage inside of the occupancy changed greatly. Wouldn't even be a good enough word. It was probably the fire load in that building doubled. So therefore, using the articles in the Chapter 1 of the Fire Code, we requested that a third-party evaluation was performed by a licensed design professional engineer that deals with fire protection systems that would have a greater amount of knowledge with water supply rather than a fire sprinkler contractor. It's also noticed during the egregious increase in fire load inside the building, increases have simply piled furniture, mattresses, couch cushions, and pillows strewn throughout the store in a disorderly manner, causing potential interference with egress and an imminent hazard to responding fire crews in the event of emergency. This was when, in the best interest of public health and welfare, we requested on November 17th, 2023, that the third-party evaluation of the fire sprinkler system by the licensed design professional, the engineer, was to be conducted. Follow-up inspections on January 11th, 2024, and February 7th, 2024, found that the fire load continued to be increased with no third-party evaluation provided. Other issues noticed that would be corrected on site, and then we would return and find them back in violation. They would be corrected on site again, which we weren't able to bring to this court. Would be obstructed egress is a common issue with the disorderly storage of the combustible. As we continued each subsequent reinspection, the storage continued to accumulate, preventing orderly egress from the building and presenting a fire hazard in the event that an ignition source inadvertently being presented to the fire load. Store staff was requested on November 17, 2023, to provide an orderly management of the storage. We spent a considerable amount of time, myself and Chief Shivers here, about an hour on site with store staff, talking about what would be considered an orderly manner of storage, fire breaks between storage, access to the walls, 36-inch egress aisles, to allow for fire department operations to be conducted in a safe and efficient manner, and for public egress in the event of a fire. To date, this has not been achieved. Additionally, the massive stock of furniture along the walls and the advertisement banners posted along the storefront walls have also obstructed the fire alarm notification devices, also known as the horn strobes, devices that you would see along both walls here, both in the storefront area and the stockroom areas, potentially interfering with the fire alarm system's effectiveness to inform occupants of a fire alarm activation and potential emergency. Store management was also notified of this, shown where the devices were and what they needed to move to avoid obstructing them. However, in each subsequent visit, the devices had more and more furniture placed in front of them, causing further obstruction. Additionally, during an inspection on September 6, 2023, is discovered multiple emergency lights were installed throughout the storefront without the issuance of an electrical permit. On October 30th, 2023, it was observed more emergency lighting was installed without a permit inside of the restrooms, stockrooms, and a hallway without a permit. On October 24, 2023, a permit was applied for the installation of 4 emergency lights, but is yet to be issued and is awaiting a response to comments per the building official and fire plan reviewer's comments. Subsequent re-inspections have been conducted of this location on November 11, 2023, January 11, 2024, February 7, 2024, and today, February 28, 2024. None of the violations mentioned at the beginning of this presentation have been corrected. Upon today's site visit with myself and Fire Marshal Chief Shivers, it was found that the fire load of the store stored mattresses, furnitures, cushions, couches, other general household goods, tables, had increased to an even higher level, up to the point of stored cardboard, garbage bags, and general rubbish, obstructing means of egress, stacked approximately to between 8 to 10 feet high. It's also noticed that the emergency lights remain in place with no valid permit on file, and nearly every single fire alarm notification appliance was obstructed. We also observed furniture stacked within 18 inches of the fire sprinkler defectors, preventing their effective activation, and fire sprinkler heads missing escutcheon plates, which may prevent them from activating in a timely manner. I'd like to summarize and state that we've made visits to this location on the following dates and spoken about our concerns with the property owner and with the business owner. The situation at this building has only gotten steadily worse. We've been there 15 times so far, and the situation there's only gotten worse. I understand this was brought before the magistrate previously for a permitting issue and a few other issues that were rectified. At the time, we were under the impression that the business owner, David Fletcher, was going to take care of the other issues. Unfortunately, those promises seem to have fallen short and brought us back here today. And then today's visit was even more of a concern with the obstructed egress and obstructed fire alarm notification devices. In closing, and I would like to walk through a few of the pictures after closing, but due to the imminent and continually growing hazard to life and safety on this property, its potential occupants and responding firefighters, such as the egregious fire load, obstructive means of egress, unknown ability of the fire sprinkler system to effectively extinguish a fire, and the obstructed fire alarm notification to appliances, the city would like to request an immediate fine of $100 per day regarding the violations of NFPA 1, Chapter 1.15.1, Chapter 13.3.3.2, 13.1.8, and 10.19.1 per day until such violations are corrected, and allow 30 days to come into compliance with the violation of NFPA 1, Chapter 1.17.12.10, or a fine of $25 per day be imposed for that violation.
Okay, so there was a lot of information that you gave.
Yes, Your Honor. There's a lot going on at this building.
Yeah.
Maybe once in my career, I've been a firefighter for quite a long time, so is Chief Shivers. Have I genuinely gotten chills on my spine going into a building? This is one of those times. It resembles the situation that happened in Charleston back in 2007 when 9 firefighters lost their life. A lot of the circumstances with this building resemble a lot of the circumstances that led up to that tragedy, which is why we're requesting the imminent fine.
Okay, so let's go, and so you've given me a lot of information, but I want to go through what you've cited here. So, and tell me specifically what the issue is that resulted in that particular citation. So 1.7.12.10, that's related to construction without a permit, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
And so what was constructed, and what is that section referring to in all of the pictures that you showed me?
The installation of the emergency lights.
Okay. And are they, so they did it without a permit, are they functioning or no?
Some of them are, some of them aren't. Due to the condition of the electrical panels in the building and the height of the test button, it's a little bit difficult to test them. The actual testing would be done upon the permitting phase.
Okay. And you're asking for $25 per day on that one?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, now 1.15.1.
Yes, Your Honor.
You were saying that that requires an independent review, a third-party review, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
So, and I just want to make sure I'm looking at the right thing, because when I look at the section, it's saying for new construction, modification, or rehabilitation, construction documents and shop drawings shall be submitted, reviewed, and approved prior to the start of work. So where, am I looking at the wrong?
1.15.1, Your Honor?
Mm-hmm. Am I looking at the wrong section somehow?
We did bring the fire prevention code book to,
Okay.
just in case we do need clarification.
Yeah, 1.15.1, the AHJ shall be permitted to require a review by an approved independent third party with expertise in the manner to be reviewed at the submitter's expense for technical analysis.
I wonder if maybe somehow I'm looking at an older version or something.
Your Honor, is it NFPA 101 that you're looking at? That may be.
I don't think so, but I could be wrong. Okay, so, but you're reading it from the code book. Okay, thank you. All right, so that is, you have asked for a third-party reviewer to look at basically whether the existing fire suppression system is sufficient for this kind of an occupancy.
Yes, Your Honor, that would be where a licensed professional engineer, generally one that specializes in fire protection systems, would go into the building, take a look at, A, the current conditions of the building, the amount of fire load that's stored. Mattresses specifically can come a lot into play because of their synthetic construction. They'd also would be able to look at the photographs that we've taken of previous conditions because even though it's classified as a mercantile occupancy, the current occupants are treating it sort of as a storage warehouse where they're moving things in and out. So when that engineer goes and takes a visit, it may be empty at that time, whereas we can show them the pictures. This is also what we've seen in here. Then that engineer would make a determination on the hazard classification, which would affect the amount of water going to the sprinkler system, the water pressure if the fire pump's needed, the sprinkler heads, the GPM flow out of them, things of that nature.
Sure. Okay, and then 13.3.3.2 is related to the sprinkler system needing to be maintained. So what is the issue with the sprinkler system?
Yes, Your Honor. So 13.3.3.2 refers us back to NFPA 25, which is one of the reference standards of the Fire Prevention Code. In NFPA 25, there's a few sections in there that are two, actually. One is that fire sprinkler heads have to have escutcheon plates, which completes their assembly. The escutcheon is the small ring that goes around the fire sprinkler head itself to prevent smoke from being able to get up through the ceiling before activating the fire sprinkler head. The other issue with that is the storage within 18 inches of the fire sprinkler deflector.
Okay. And then the last one, oh no, and then we have 13.1.8, which is the fire protection system, right?
Yes, Your Honor, to be maintained in a reliable operating condition.
Yeah, and then that it relates to
The obstruction of the notification appliances, the horn strobes. There's
Okay.
several pull stations to activate the fire alarm, which are unable to be accessed to right now because of the storage that's in front of them.
Okay. And then finally, what was the 10.19.1 on the combustible materials and obstruction of ingress and egress, right?
That's, yes, Your Honor.
Okay. And so I do see in the pictures there are aisles or walkways. So what is it that you are asking them? Can you explain a little bit what you're asking them to do? Because I see in the pictures that there clearly are pathways through what they're storing.
So if we see in this picture here on the right there, how the furniture, you'd go into a normal furniture store, even a furniture warehouse. Generally, it's stacked neatly. It's laid out. That provides two purposes. So from where we're standing right here, it's a little difficult, of course, just because of the orientation of the screen, but that actually leads to a dead end. My only way out would be to go to the left. In the event of an emergency, you have people running through there. The way that furniture is stacked up presents a hazard of it could fall over. It sits out on the right there. You actually have the wall where you can see that small yellow and white portion. The furniture is approximately 12 feet back from the wall. So if we had an issue, let's say with an arcing electrical outlet, or we needed to gain access to that wall for some unbeknownst reason, we have no access without moving piles and piles of furniture. Other areas too, just simply the large, long lines of the furniture with no breaks between. If there were to be a fire, it would essentially render our fire hose lines inoperable as they couldn't penetrate through the piles of furniture.
So there's not enough spacing, basically?
There's not enough spacing, and simply the way it's stacked in itself inherently creates a hazard, as it can create, a fall hazard. I actually, when I was in there, I bumped into a few pieces of furniture just trying to squeeze through, and there was, remember the one couch I bumped into, it actually started to teeter-totter, where if a customer isn't paying attention or a small child, it could fall onto them.
Okay, so in your visits and inspections, you all have discussed how they would have to store the furniture in order to meet that code section in your view?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. All right. Is there anything else you needed to tell me, Mr. Schaller, before I talk to the respondents?
At this time, no, other than just to harp on the imminent hazard that this would pose to firefighting operations or to the public occupants of this building if there was a fire inside.
I guess one question I have is, I mean, it's not readily, I guess if I were in that situation or in that location, it doesn't appear, it's not apparent how I would be able to get out.
Not at all.
So that's I mean, is that part of what you're asking them to do to kind of clearly delineate or
Yes, Your Honor.
mark how to get out?
Storage obstructs what exit signs there are. It obstructs access to fire extinguishers. Imagine you were in there, smoke, you inhale smoke, Lord forbid, and get just a little bit of hydrogens and cyanide. You're going to be completely disoriented. Here's actually a picture. That's me. I was able to raise my phone up to be able to actually take a picture just to show the sheer depth of that furniture, not only from the wall, but extending all the way down the wall. That's probably a 65-foot long line by 10-foot wide row of just pure combustible furniture. It's all, newer, modern, synthetic furniture, which is going to burn at a much higher rate. And if I could have the young lady operating the camera, there's a picture I would like to show of specific concern near the end. That's another example. There's a lot of cardboard boxes stored throughout the store. But if we'll continue going, and I'll tell you when we can stop, of the one area of pretty significant concern that myself and Chief Shivers witnessed today.
And Your Honor, if I may add, this is being stored in what is supposed to be items for sale. We're not even in the back storeroom.
Oh, this is the sales floor?
Storefront.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we can continue to scroll. And then go to the left arrow on that, if you don't mind. Continue. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. So go back one, please. This is one of the areas in the stockroom where it's simply just wall-to-wall, nothing but cardboard. We can continue going to the left. Also, actually, if we go back to that picture, apologize, actually shows right there where that piece of conduit drops down, we actually have an obstructed fire alarm notification device right there. If we continue to go to the left, we have stacks of tables making a complete room completely inaccessible, which was a break room when the store operated as a Winn-Dixie. We can continue going. That's an obstructed means of egress. The door there on the right is an exit door. However, there's furniture piled in front of it. We can continue going to the left. That's the storeroom. I was able to find a vantage point. I was standing probably 5 feet up in the air, and that's about a wall of 50 foot, again, by probably 15 foot, just solid piled combustible furniture.
Okay.
There's still one picture I wanted to harp on if we'll just keep going. There's more obstructed egress right here. That is the means of egress from the back stockroom of the store. Can you see the exit sign?
No. I don't really know. So there's a door somewhere in that picture?
Right there, Your Honor, where the mouse is.
Okay.
That's an exit sign. That isn't even furniture. That is just parts, pieces. There were several bags of rubbish. Empty cardboard boxes, and that's something I've continued to tell the operators of that store multiple times, that nothing can be stored in that egress pathway. On top of that, just for my own safety of climbing through that pile, I couldn't get a good enough picture to present. There's actually a fire alarm notification device, a fire alarm pull station, and a fire extinguisher that's all obstructed by that storage and the sole means of egress for the back room of that store is blocked by that storage.
Okay. All right. And so, just so I'm clear, also on the fines you're recommending, so you're asking for $100 per day for each of those 1.15? I'm sorry?
Cumulative.
Cumulative. Okay,
Yes.
so
Yes,
for
ma'am, cumulative.
1.15.1, 13.3.3.2, 13.1.8, and 10.19.1.
Yes, Your Honor, $100 a day effective immediately until we're able to get these items resolved and have some form of sense of security and public safety in this occupancy.
And you were asking for what date for, or how many days for compliance?
For that issue, due to the imminent threat, we're asking that fine begin immediately.
Okay.
And the reason why staff is leaning towards that is simply because we've gone around with this situation for nearly a year now. The occupant is well aware that they need to have this taken care of. But he just continues to keep piling more and more things in the store and states that he'll deal with the issue when it actually becomes an issue for him.
Okay. All right. For the respondent, can you state your name and address for the record, please?
Donna Houseworth, 2845 Enterprise Road, DeBerry, Florida.
Okay. And then, sir, were you going to speak also?
Yes, my name is Julian Demora, same address.
Okay. All right, what would you like to tell me about the case?
Okay, as far as all those violations, we were not aware of any of the violations except the one about not pulling the permit for the electrical. All this other thing is very new to us. As soon as I got the letter, the certified letter, that is when we were made aware of this issue. So we weren't aware of, the furniture being stored and et cetera.
Okay.
So the only thing we were, February 7th, we were given a notice about a permit. We furnished Dave Fletcher, who is the business owner, a floor plan, and then he said Frank Gay was pulling his permit. I called Frank Gay, and they said something about the floor plan wasn't adequate, and I just found out that today.
So
Your Honor, I would like to
all these
add.
other violations I was not aware of, or nobody was in communication with us.
We have been sending notice of each fire inspection report to the property owner.
Where to?
To the email address that was provided. I also double-checked the email tracking that our software provides today, and it did show that the email was open.
February 7th?
Okay. If you'd want, Your Honor, too, I can provide all the other dates that those emails were opened. In addition, when we met when we got the permit for the fire alarm, I remember me and you had a lengthy discussion about the hazard in the storage, and that's when I also verbally informed you that if it continued at this rate, that we would end up back at Magistrate, and which the response was that the building owner told me it was the responsibility of the tenant.
Okay, so there's all of these inspections, and you're saying you just weren't aware of the inspections that were going
No,
on?
only the electrical without having a permit.
Okay. When was the notice of violation sent? Let's see.
The code violation?
I have that in my exhibit packet, Your Honor. Let me. Notice of violation was posted to the property February 13th at approximately 7:18 a.m.
Okay. So what you're saying is you weren't aware of these issues until February 13th?
Yeah, certified letter.
Okay. For the city, do you have emails that you would like me to see that were sent to the property owner?
Chief Shivers, if you'd like to, we can log on to Mobilize, which is our fire prevention software. we can open up the report called consultation, and that'll show the email tracking,
Okay.
which shows the IP address and the time that it was opened by what email received it.
Okay. And so what is your email address?
Mine is dhbroker@aol.com.
Okay. Whose email address is julesdemora@gmail.com?
That's mine.
Okay. All right. So we have emails that was sent at least as of January.
It was sent December 6th.
Oh, I'm sorry.
5 p.m. and they read it. They opened
I
it.
see. It was sent in December 6th. All right. So it was sent to, and you are one of the property owners, sir, correct?
Yes.
All right. So it was sent to you.
Not on these new violations. That was from prior violations, which the permit was pulled for the 4 exit lights that they made them put in the poles and paint red. Also, a lot of these pictures are kind of deceiving in a way. I don't know what the open travel has to be, but I know that the hallways going through there in between the units are sufficiently wide, is what they said. This picture here, where the cardboard box is there and stuff, going through there and go out that way, is probably 4 foot wide, okay? The picture doesn't show that. The picture shows this angle of it, okay? Another thing, too, is a lot of the boxes are not cardboard empty boxes. There's furniture in them.
Okay. All right, give me just one moment. All right. I think, I would like to provide at least some minimal amount of time for them to come into compliance, rather than imposing fines immediately. But I think that should be a very short period of time. And so, I'm thinking, because from what you've provided, you've been going there
For almost a year.
for almost a year. So, I think that it is reasonable to provide at least a week for them to, work on trying to come into compliance. But I'm very concerned about what I'm seeing here, because it does look very dangerous. It appears, it seems like basically a maze in there.
Your Honor.
And I don't know how anyone would be able to find their way out. Go ahead.
May I add, too, while we were dealing with this, we actually received from another fire inspector from a neighboring jurisdiction where the same occupant was located, he actually called and voiced concerns about this. The same business owner had a separate, similar business in another jurisdiction nearby that they're closing, and they announced that they'll be moving all of their stock to this building, which is what causes even greater concern that this situation simply is just going to get worse from here.
Okay. All right. Was there anything else that you needed to add?
When we get these code violations and the notice for the meeting, why isn't the business owner also added on to this?
Well, that's a decision for the city, how they're going to bring code violations. But ultimately, the property owner is responsible for the violations that are going on the property. And that's why you received, the notices. Okay, so I am going to find that respondent in this case is in violation of the city code as charged, and that respondent correct the violation. I'm going to say, so let me pause here for 1 second. So on 1.7.12.10, are you asking also for a short period of time, or is that something we can provide a longer period for them to get the permit for the emergency lighting that was installed?
They have a contractor, so I believe the shorter amount of time they should be able to accomplish this.
Okay.
The contractor's already filed an application. Myself, the building official, have been reviewing it extremely quickly as soon as each submittal. We're simply waiting on a response from the contractor.
Okay. All right. All right. Okay, so I'm going to find that they correct all of the violations before 4:00 p.m. on, let me look at the date. Okay. I'm going to provide, so a week would be March 6th. So they have to correct the violations before 4:00 p.m. on March 6th. In the event respondent does not comply by the state, a fine in the amount of $25 per day will be imposed for the violation related to Chapter 1.7.12.10, and a fine in the amount of $100 per day will be imposed for the violations 1.15.1, 13.3.3.2, 13.1.8, and 10.19.1.
Your Honor, if I may, real quick.
Yes.
The chapter 1.15.1
Yes.
with regard to the technical analysis, it's my opinion, I don't believe they're going to have that done in 7 days. So
okay,
I
thank
would
you.
like to provide a little bit of extra time for that violation, and I'm comfortable with 30 days.
Okay, thank you. So I'll amend that, so it'll be 30 days for 1.15.1. Given that that has a different time period, I'm thinking the fine should be imposed separately for that one. So are you asking for $25 per day for that one? Because you have 4 violations at $100 total, so is that
Yes, Your
consistent
Honor, I
with
would
what
say
you're?
to keep it 100 for 1.7.12. All of the other violations, keep them at 100, and then $25 for 1.15.1.
Okay. So, but again, I think that one needs to be separated in terms of the fine. So what I would do is, for 1.15.1, we do correct the violation within 30 days, and that would be a fine of $25 per day. And then the other 3, so that would be 13.3.3.2, 13.1.8, and 10.19.1 would be 75.
Yes, Your Honor. And just to confirm, 25 also for the violation of 1.7.12.10.
Yes.
Thank you. So 7 days for the 2 most recently mentioned violations, 30 days for 1.15.1.
Yes, I'm gonna read this again so it's clear. All right, so I'm gonna find respondent in this case in violation of the city code as charged, and that respondent correct the violations in the following manner. Before 4:00 p.m. for 1.7.12.10 on March 6th, with a fine of $25 per day. For violations 13.3.3.2, 13.1.8, and 10.19.1, that will also need to be corrected before 4:00 p.m. on March 6th. And it would be a fine of $75 per day cumulatively for those three. And finally, for violation of 1.15.1, that would need to be corrected by 4:00 p.m. on March 29th. And that would also be a fine of $25 per day for each day the violation continues past the aforestated date. Respondent is further ordered to contact the code inspector to verify compliance with this order. I'm admitting the case file as an exhibit, and I find that the notices were properly given in this case. I would recommend that you stay in contact with the fire marshals closely for the next week. And Renee, I'd ask if you can get this order to me as quickly as possible so I can sign it. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Your Honor, now, with the code violations, we don't know what they are by the code and stuff. I can see the short period of time of getting the stuff inside the store rectified since it's an emergent, it's like a hazardous. Now, anything with permitting or something, if they need a new
We're giving 30 days.
for the
Is that 30 days?
30 days for the, if they are calling for a new floor plan and stuff like that. And he also, second advice for their sprinkler system and stuff, that can't happen in 6 days, you know, and stuff. I could see getting the store cleaned up by the tenant and stuff like that, which seems to be the biggest hazard here. And yes, in a short period of time, he should be able to do that, I understand. And I don't know what the codes is, but he'll have to talk to the fire marshal to see what they need between that access going to that exit door over there. Where they have stuff stored up against long walls, is usually, there's no access through there. It's just stored on a long wall, and I think it was 12 foot is what he was told that he could come out there. So, I
Okay.
mean,
Chief Shivers, do you want to address that, or do you want me to go through them again?
Are you referring specifically to the technical analysis that we're asking for by the engineer?
The thing is, because 7 days, you're never going to get it. The store cleaned up, yes, the tenant should be able to get his people, because he has a big workforce, to be able to get things taken care of to your standards. I don't know what the standards are. I'm sure Dave Fletcher must know, but by talking to you guys, what do you need between that board and that over there to be able to get out that door? 20 feet, 4 feet? What is it?
Yeah, we've spoken with the store on, and like I said, we are more than happy to come out and evaluate with them and go over specifically what it is that's needed again.
Right.
We've already gone through that once with them, but we're more than happy to do it again. With regard to the technical analysis, we've provided 30 days for that.
For everything.
Yes, and that's to get the report to us. Once we have that report, that's going to tell us, is that sprinkler system adequate?
Right.
Or is there modifications that need to be made? And then we'll address that at that time.
Now, I know we did that with Shield Fire Department, and he's saying that he's not adequate to do that?
So we received the report from Shield Fire Protection when they initially moved in, and the amount of storage that is accumulated over the period of a year has increased. So we're taking the fire sprinkler contractor out of it, we're taking ourselves out of it, and we're now asking for this analysis because it's in our opinion that we feel as though there may be an issue with that sprinkler system, but we want it to be evaluated by an engineer.
And how soon will we get all this information emailed to us? As far as like,
The order?
yeah, all these codes and rules.
Well, the codes are available for anyone to see, and I'm sure that the fire marshal can provide you a copy with the codes.
And I'd
My
like
order,
to be included in the email instead of just him. I would like, email to myself. Yeah.
okay. And my order, I mean, we will attempt to get it out. Today is Wednesday, so I will attempt to have it in the mail by Friday. And, if we provide it, then perhaps it can also be emailed. I mean, the traditional way of doing this is it would be sent to you by mail. So perhaps the chief might want to email you the order so you receive it faster,
Okay.
if I can make that suggestion.
Yeah, so we can relay this to the tenant as well.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, thank you.
And I'm going to ask also to the city, are you asking me to add the serious threat finding so that you would be able to notify the city commission and take appropriate action to abate it as well, if necessary?
We would appreciate that, yes.
Yeah, okay, so I'm going to also find that the violations constitute a serious threat to the public health, safety, and welfare. And in the event the respondent does not correct the violation by the date set in this order, the city commission may be notified and appropriate action be taken by the city to bring the property into compliance. The city is entitled to recover its reasonable cost for such services. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, this is case 24-028, 1339 Bailey Avenue. Go ahead.
Good evening. My name is Nelson Nieves, and I am employed by the City of Deltona as a code compliance officer. This will be case number DEL 24-028, the City of Deltona versus Keith A. Keeney. The property address is 1339 Bailey Ave, Deltona, Florida 32725. The parcel ID number is 81300-747-0030. This is a violation of the City of Deltona Ordinance Section 66-19-3, which states that boats, trailers, recreational vehicles should not be parked or stored either within a public right-of-way or within that portion of the lot lying across the full width of the lot between the front line and the frontmost part of the principal structure. Corrective action for said violation is to park boat/trailer/RV on the side of the house behind the front face or in the rear yard, but not within the side street yard. Please move the vehicle to proper parking area or remove from the property. All vehicles must have a current tag and be operable, or they must be stored in an enclosed garage. The statutory requirements for notice of this hearing have been met by the notice of hearing and notice of code violation was sent certified mail to the property owner at the address listed with the property appraiser's records. In addition, both notices were posted on the property and at City Hall at least 10 days prior to this hearing. All of the evidence in this case, including photographs, have been marked as exhibits and submitted to the special magistrate clerk. I certify any and all photographs to be true and accurate portrayals of what I observed on the day they were taken. This is a reactive case that began on December 27th, 2023 for an improperly parked boat. A notice of violation was posted on the property the next day as there was already case history for the same violation. On January 4th, 2024, I received a voicemail from Keith, to which I tried calling back but got his voicemail. On January 13th, I drove to the property and spoke with Keith. I was informed that he had moved the boat to his front driveway to keep an eye on it with his cameras due to the neighboring property being rowdy and having heard verbal arguments throughout hours of the night. He went on to state that he had spoken with his neighbors prior, but that nothing was done and that he would be keeping his boat where he can see it. Since then, I have spoken with Keith and informed him of additional corrective actions along with what would have needed to be done prior to this special magistrate hearing. On February 8th, the property was still in violation, and the notice of hearing was hand-delivered to Keith, and the affidavit of service was filled out as well. I also spoke with him and informed him of this special magistrate hearing. At this date and time, the property still remains in violation. Then, in case closing, the city would like to request 30 days for the property to come into compliance or a fine of $25 per day to be imposed until such time that the property owner has notified the city of compliance.
Okay. Is the property owner here?
Yes.
All right, please come forward. You state your name and address for the record.
Good evening. Keith Keeney, 1339 Bailey Avenue, Deltona.
Okay. What would you like to tell me about the case?
As I've had several conversations with Officer Nieves, the reason why I moved my boat to the front of the house is because I have a camera there. My neighbor next door, I've been dealing with for over a year. For some ungodly reason, he's allowed people to move into his shed. First, they were living in a truck that didn't run on the tree belt in front of the house, and then they decided to clear out their shed and let a couple of people move into the shed. Like I said, Officer Nieves can attest that I believe there's a case open still on that.
Yes, there's an active case
going
open.
on. My neighbors, they got like 9 people right now living in a 3-bedroom home. There's a couple people living in the shed. There's traffic all hours of the day and night. There's fighting between the ones that are living in the shed. They're constantly showing up with all these items. They're showing up with bicycles and furniture and all kinds of stuff, just in and out, all kinds of items. I don't know where they're getting all this stuff from, but they'll have a bunch of stuff. So in the interest of trying to keep the peace and not have to worry about my boat being vandalized or parts stolen off of it or whatever, I moved it to the front so that my camera can keep an eye on it. And that's the only reason, like I said, we've had several conversations, but that's the only reason why I've kept my boat out in front of the house, because I'm trying to be proactive and not let things get out of hand. Because I don't have a camera on the side of the house, and I haven't wanted to install one because then it would be, pointing at my neighbor's house, and I don't want to get into all their privacy concerns and that kind of stuff. So that's the only reason why my boat is out there. Once these people have been evicted out of this shed, I don't have a problem moving my boat to where it's supposed to be. I'm just concerned about my property being stolen, vandalized, but because I don't know what these people do. They're in and out constantly, all hours of the day and night. Like I said, I go to work at 2 o'clock in the morning. I see him walking through the neighborhood. I don't, like I said, I'm not making any accusations, but I don't know what's going on. And it just causes me a lot of anxiety, having to constantly worry about, anything happening to my boat.
Yeah, understood. I mean, and I can sympathize with that to a point, but there's no exception in the city code for something, like this.
No, I totally understand that.
It needs to be parked either, correct me if I'm wrong, on the side, in the side yard or in the rear yard, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
So, those are the choices under the city code, so.
No, I understand that.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm also dealing with a situation where I have people living in a shed next door to me that who don't belong there. They're not property owners. They're not paying taxes. But I got people living in a shed right next to my house who are constantly fighting, screaming, hollering, waking me up in the middle of the night. And like I said, there's traffic back and forth all hours of the day and night. I can't keep an eye on what they're doing or whatever, and it just causes me concern for my own personal property.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to get too far into it because, again, I don't think the city code, would allow for anything other than it being parked in the side or the rear yard. But, I mean, can it be parked on, the other side? There's not room
on that side of the property.
Yeah. Well,
like I said, it's just,
yeah.
I'm trying to be proactive. I'm trying to keep things from escalating because I know if something happens to my boat and I notify the police, I have the officers come out, they're going to say, well, did you witness it? No, I didn't. And I'm sorry, there's nothing we can do. And I know that's what's going to happen. And that's, I shouldn't have to deal with this because of people who don't own the property, aren't renting, and they don't pay taxes in this city.
Right. And I mean, but I think what has been said is that there is an open code enforcement case, correct, on
Yes,
that?
ma'am.
And so the city is, proceeding with trying to obtain compliance on that issue.
Yep.
So, again, while I understand the concern, there isn't really, anything in the code that will allow us to deviate from what it provides, which is it needs to be parked on the side or the rear yard. Did you have anything else you wanted to tell me? No. I
mean, that's like I said, I'm not trying to, the only reason it's there is because of the issue I'm dealing with my neighbors, which, like I said, he's well aware of. He's been dealing with them. He's told them they can't have that situation there.
Right.
And they're not doing anything about moving these people out of the shed, so it's just a...
Yeah, understood. Would the city be willing to do at least 45 days for compliance? At least give a little extra time? Hopefully the other code case might be corrected in that time.
Regarding the situation, I put 30 days as a general, but 45 days should be more than adequate enough time to hopefully remedy both situations if need be.
Yeah. And that's really all I can do is give you a little bit of extra time.
That's fine. Like I said, as soon as the situation next door can be ratified, and then I don't have a problem with moving my boat to where it's supposed to be. But right now, it's like a security issue for me. I'm just trying to take care of my property to keep things from happening.
Right. Again, that's really, I think, the best that I can do is give a little bit of extra time so that hopefully that situation can be remedied. But again, regardless of whether it is, it needs to be parked in the side of the rear yard. So,
I understand.
All right. I'm going to find that the notices were properly given in this case. I'm admitting the case file as an exhibit. And I find that respondent in this case is in violation of the city code as charged, and that respondent correct the violation before 4:00 p.m. on April 13th. In the event respondent does not comply by the state, a fine in the amount of $25 per day will be imposed for each day the violation continues past the aforestated date. Respondent is further ordered to contact the code inspector to verify compliance with this order. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. This is Fire 24-0013, 783 Fort Smith Boulevard.
For the record, my name is Samuel Schaller. I'm employed by the City of Deltona as the Assistant Fire Marshal. This will be case number Fire 24-0013, City of Deltona versus Amen Mukesh Trust, 100%, and Amin Jita Trust, 100%. Property address is 783 Fort Smith Boulevard, Suite 104, Deltona, Florida, 32738. Parcel ID is 813-019-030040. This is a violation of City of Deltona Ordinance, Chapter 42, Article 4, Fire Codes, Chapter 42-186, which adopts the most recent edition of Florida Fire Prevention Code as adopted by the State Fire Marshal, which contains the Florida-specific version of NFPA 1 Fire Code and Section 1.7.12.10, which states no construction work shall proceed until the AHJ has reviewed the plans for compliance with the applicable codes and standards and the applicable permits have been issued, and the Florida-specific version of NFPA 101 Life Safety Code, Section 7.2.2.4.1.1, which states new stairs and ramps shall have handrails on both sides. Corrective action for said violation is to obtain a permit for the removal of the ramp and the newly installed stairs and handrails, and provide handrails in compliance with NFPA 101, Chapter 7.2.2.4, both sides of the stairs. Statutory requirements for notification of this hearing have been met. The notice of hearing and notice of code violations were sent certified mail to the property owner at the address listed with the property appraiser's records. In addition, both notices were posted on the property and at City Hall at least 10 days prior to this hearing. All of the evidence in this case, including the photographs, have been marked as exhibits and submitted to the special magistrate clerk. I certify any and all photographs to be true and accurate portrayals of what I observed on the day they were taken. On November 30th, 2022, Fire Safety Inspector Lisa Nadeau conducted an inspection at this address. During the inspection, amongst other violations which have since been corrected, she observed a ramp in heavy disrepair missing a handrail on one side of the ramp. The property owner was informed of the violations and instructed to repair the ramp and obtain a permit to install a handrail on both sides of the ramp, or to replace the ramp with stairs and provide compliant guards and handrails. Property owner was also informed a building permit would be needed for this work. Follow-up inspections on February 8th, 2023, April 12th, 2023, and May 15th, 2023 found no action taken. We did meet with the property owner who advised he would be working on pulling permits. A permit was applied for on June 22nd, 2023. As of today's date, the permit is approved. However, it has not been paid for and has not been issued. During a follow-up inspection on December 5th, 2023, it was found that the non-compliant ramp had been removed and non-compliant handrails had been installed on one side of the means of egress without the issuance of a building permit. The handrails installed did not meet the requirements set forth in NFPA 101, Chapter 7.2.2.4, as they were missing the required intermediate guards between the railings and they were missing handrails on one side of the stairs that are in the means of egress. Subsequent inspections on January 10th, 2024, February 6th, 2024, found no progress made on the violation. As of today's date, the permit is ready to be issued. However, it has not been issued, but the permit's scope of work does include completely rebuilding the entire means of egress and providing it with compliant handrails on both sides of the stairwell. City would like to request 30 days for the property to come into compliance with the remainder of the violations, or a fine of $50 per day until such time that the property owner has notified the city of compliance.
Okay, so the violation of 1.7.12.10 related to construction without a permit, correct? So was that the installation of the stairs? From the ramp, or?
There used to be a ramp there, Your Honor. We're unsure of what was underneath that ramp and whether or not those stairs are new, but the removal of the ramp and the installation of those handrails would require a permit.
Okay, and then they attempted to install a handrail, but it needs to be on both sides, is what you're saying, plus what's there is not compliant?
Yes, Your Honor. It needs to have intermediate guards, so a small person or a child couldn't essentially fall through the railing.
I think when I read the section, there are certain exceptions for having handrails on both sides.
That's correct.
Do any of them apply in this situation?
No, Your Honor. That exemption exists due to previous previous editions of the Life Safety Code used to only require handrails on one side. However, ever since, I can't remember the exact edition of the Life Safety Code, going forward, newly installed handrail stairs have to be on both sides.
Okay. All right, is the property owner here?
I'm Joel White, 611 Fort Florida Point Road, DeBary, Florida. I'm representing the property owner and the general contractor. As of yesterday, or I guess today, the permit was approved, and so we'll be picking it up tomorrow and start making repairs. The current railings were basically just put there for a safety until we got the permit approved.
Okay, so, but you do have to make the repairs, so do you believe 30 days will be sufficient for you to do so?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Anything else you want to add?
No, that's
Okay, all right. I'm going to find that the notices were properly given in this case. I'm admitting the case file as an exhibit. I find respondent in this case in violation of the city code as charged, and that respondent correct the violation before 4:00 p.m. on March 29th. In the event respondent does not comply by the state, a fine in the amount of $50 per day will be imposed for each day the violations continue past the aforestated date. Respondent is further ordered to contact the code inspector to verify compliance with this order.
all right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. Thanks, Joel. You too, man. Take care.
Okay. Okay. Is there one, this is still someone's here, right? Okay, all right. Okay, this is case DEL 23-272, Massey case 1369 Woodbine Avenue. Okay, yeah, let's go and take a little break. Good evening, go ahead.
Good evening. My name is Nelson Nieves, and I am employed by the City of Deltona as a code compliance officer. This will be Massey case number DEL 23-272, B and D. The City of Deltona versus Freddie Dyer. The property address is 1369 Woodbine Ave, Deltona, Florida 32725. The parcel ID number is 813-007-750-060. The statutory requirements for notification of this hearing have been met by the notice of hearing and notice of code violation sent certified mail to the property owner at the address listed with the property appraiser's records. In addition, both notices were posted at City Hall at least 10 days prior to this hearing. All of the evidence in this case, including the photographs, have been marked as exhibits and submitted to the special magistrate clerk. I certify any and all photographs to be true and accurate portrayals of what I observed on the day they were taken. It was ruled on November 29th, 2023, that the property owner was given 60 days to comply. The owner did not come into compliance within those 60 days and has been receiving a fine of $50 a day, $25 for each violation, since January 28th, 2024. As of today, the property has accrued a total fine of $1,600 over 31 days. In case closing, the city is requesting that the fines continue at $50 per day. Now, I just wanted to add a note on there. I was unable to take date of photos, but I spoke with him, and because he was unable to let me access to the property to take photos, and I just informed him of the special magistrate hearing, but he did verbally tell me that there has been no change to the property.
Okay, and so, but these are photos from when?
These are photos from my next workday, which was January 31st, which was after the 28th, because the 28th is on a Sunday. I don't work on a Sunday.
Okay, all right, so these are the most recent photos that you have is January 31st?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right, and so, right, okay, so we still see a hole in the ceiling. Is that in the garage?
Yes, ma'am.
And then the fence panel
Yes.
is falling down?
Mm-hmm.
Or, I'm sorry,
In
it's
disrepair.
missing in places as well, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, sir, can you state your name and address for the record?
Fred Dyer, Freddie J. Dyer, 6767 Cherry Grove Circle, Orlando, Florida, 32809.
Okay, what would you like to tell me about the case?
Ma'am, all of this damage was created by the complainants. You know, I think when I was here the last time, I told you that the holdup was that Attorney Jimenez was supposed to be evicting them for me. And it took him up until, I don't know, but he was supposed to be representing me, and he's requesting extensions, you know, and filing answers to the eviction process. On January 22nd, I received a letter from Mrs. Trishler. She advised me that they had left and returned, at which time she returned my keys. And there is one difference, one additional change in those photographs. Someone accessed the home and sprayed some kind of, I don't know what some kind of liquid. You know, I guess it was supposed to be paint, just sprayed paint all over the cabinets, the kitchen cabinets. So, and I've been in contact with Officer Nueves in an attempt to get him. There's no one there. You know, I have a hearing scheduled on April. I think it's April 6th or April 3rd or something like that. The hearing because they defaulted on. I got a $40,000 judgment because they did not appear and didn't answer. And so the problem is there's no one there, you know, and I'm going to have to have a chance to go ahead on and take my time and do it because they did over $40,000 worth of damage. They tried to tear the place apart. They tore it apart and then deliberately stopped paying rent. It's obvious to me that what they were doing was they're trying to cause financial difficulties for me in an effort to try to steal the house from me. Now, he had the nerve to offer me $90,000 for my house. And so there is no danger to anyone. In the process, I tried to apply for the fence repair yesterday. I'm going to be starting with the fence so I can secure it. And once I get it secured, I'm going to take my time and restore my house to the way it was. And so really what I would like to do is request that this be withdrawn because all it's doing is causing an additional hardship for me to be running back and forth. And
You're asking for what to be withdrawn?
For this complaint.
This code enforcement complaint?
Yes, ma'am. There's no danger to anyone.
Okay. Well, so we're not here to discuss that. This is a Massey case, so that means, or Massey hearing, which means I've already made a ruling. I made a ruling the first time that there was a violation, that you were required to come into compliance within 60 days. And I believe, if my memory serves, I provided that as additional, you know, time for you to deal with some of the tenant situations.
The 60 days expired on January 28th. I was unable to get them out of the place. They wouldn't even allow me access to my own house.
Well,
and they're the ones, the complainants are the ones who tore up my place.
Right. Well, you know, again, these are, as the property owner, you're responsible for maintaining it. And I understand that the tenants did the damage, but, you know, that's a risk of being a landlord. So I've already ordered that the violations existed and what the time was to comply. So, and I'm
What I
not,
need to do is request an extension, I guess.
okay, well, I'm not inclined to grant an extension because I've already provided the amount of time. So I'm going to go ahead and find that the notices were properly given in this case. I'm admitting the
I have
case
not
files.
received any of this. Now, I went through the change of calling him several times, and I changed my address with the county, Volusia County. I called official records, and they gave me a website where I could change my address. So
Okay.
that my address has been officially changed.
Well, is your current address is 6767 Cherry Grove Circle?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
And
well,
this is the first time I've seen this.
that's where the notice of today's hearing was sent.
Well, I didn't receive it. When was
well,
that
that-
sent?
Well, whether or not you received it or not, the statutes provide that what has to happen is that the city mails it by
Ma'am, this
certified
is the
mail,
first time
and
I've seen
that's what
this.
occurred. And you're here, so you obviously knew
Well, I spoke to him
what the
yesterday.
hearing was for. So,
If I can add,
Yeah.
the notice of hearing for this Massey case was posted on the property on February 7th, along with certified mailing to the address listed off property papers,
Right.
which was updated to this new address.
yeah, okay. So,
With all due respect, ma'am, that's not true. He told me about it. I called him on the telephone, and I made a note of it. That's why I'm here.
well, I
have not
I
received
see it
anything in the mail.
so I see it in the file that there was certified mail sent to your current address. So, again, I'm going to find that the notices were properly given in this case. I'm admitting the case file as an exhibit. I find respondent in this case failed to correct the violation by the time specified in the special magistrate's prior order in this case, and the fine will be imposed as set forth in that order and will continue to run until the property is brought into compliance and an affidavit of compliance has been filed by the code inspector. Respondent shall notify the code inspector to verify compliance. So please stay in contact with the code inspector and let him know as soon as you're done.
I'm trying to figure out how long did I have to get this mess straightened out?
What do you mean by that?
To get that mess that they made out of my house. That's the mess.
If you wanted to appeal my decision, you have 30 days to do so in circuit court, like I
I
discussed
didn't quite
that.
understand your decision, ma'am.
I've already explained my decision, so I'm not going to explain it again. Thank you.
I don't understand what you want me to do.
I've already explained what you needed to do, sir, which was, and I explained it at the first hearing, which was that the violations needed to be corrected, which included the fence and the hole in the ceiling in the garage.
Right, and I'm in the process.
So-
I'm in the process of doing that now.
Okay.
It took
So,
me until
but again, I ordered that to be completed within 60 days. So that's really, all we're here to determine whether or not you did that within the 60 days, and that didn't occur. So that's really all I'm here to
This was withdrawn
determine
on
in
the
this
first
case.
day. This was withdrawn. And I've contacted him several times to find out what the process would be to get this withdrawn, because it's just interfering with my ability to get it done, running back and forth from here to the Volusia County Courthouse.
Okay. Well, again, I've made my ruling, I've explained it, and you have, like I said, 30 days
didn't mean to
to
interrupt.
appeal it with circuit court, but I'm not going to discuss it any further.
Okay.
I'm going to move on to other
So
cases.
in other words, you're saying I have 30 days to appeal this?
Yes, that's what I just said.
Where do I get the paperwork, please?
I'm sorry?
Where do I get the paperwork?
The city doesn't provide you with that. You would need to figure out and how to do that. It sounds like you have an attorney. That may be something that you want to
And this
pursue.
guy charged me $8,000 and disappeared.
Okay, thank you, sir. All right, we're going to take just a 5-minute break, and we'll come back
Thank you.
to finish the rest of the cases.
nobody here for these, so then you guys will be out here in a minute, then we're just gonna be loaded up with these damn fire trucks. That's why it doesn't make sense to me. They should have their own hearing or whatever, because I was just sitting up there looking, you got 9 people now that you gotta pay time and a half. Okay, so does this? For, what are y'all going back? Yeah, what we said.
All right, this is case DEL 24-014, 1812 North Akron Drive. Go ahead.
My name is Nicholas Lopez. I'm employed by the City of Deltona as a code compliance officer. This will be case number DEL 24-014, the City of Deltona versus John Michael Granfield Jr. The property address is 1812 North Akron Drive, Deltona, Florida 32738. The parcel ID number is 813-016-130-090. This is a violation of City of Deltona Ordinance Section 18-5, adopting the latest edition of the International Property Maintenance Code, Section 303.1, which states that swimming pools shall be maintained in a clean and sanitary condition and in good repair. Corrective action for said violation is for pool must be maintained and either drained of water or water must be chemically treated to remove algae. Water should be clear water and sanitized. Statutory requirements. The statutory requirements for notification of this hearing have been met by the notice of hearing and notice of code violation were sent certified mail to the property owner at the address listed with the property appraiser's records. In addition, both notices were posted at City Hall at least 10 days prior to this hearing. All of the evidence in this case, including the photographs, have been marked as exhibits submitted to the special magistrate clerk. I certify any and all photographs to be true and accurate portrayals of what I observed on the day they were taken. This was a reactive case. On November 7th, 2023, an unsanitary pool was observed on the property. A notice of violation was posted. On November 22nd, 2023, an attempt to contact was made with John Granfield with negative results. Upon reinspection today, February 28, 2024, the property was observed in violation. The city would like to request 30 days for the property to come into compliance or a fine of $50 per day to be imposed until such time that the property owner has notified the city of compliance.
Okay, I'm sorry, you said 30 days
Yes, ma'am.
and $50?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. The picture, okay, yeah, the pictures were showing something else on the screen. There we go. Okay, do you have pictures? Oh, I see you have a couple from today. Can you show me the ones from today? Okay. All right, the pool still appears green and cloudy. All right, I'm going to find that the notices were properly given in this case. I'm admitting the case file as an exhibit. I find the respondent in this case in violation of the city code is charged, and that respondent correct the violation before 4:00 p.m. on March 29th. In the event respondent does not comply by the state, a fine in the amount of $50 per day will be imposed for each day the violation continues past the aforestated date. Respondent is further ordered to contact the code inspector to verify compliance with this order. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, this is case 23-270, A and B, a Massey case, 1668 West Waycross Circle. Go ahead.
My name is Josemar Jimenez. I'm employed by the City of Deltona as a code compliance officer. This will be Massey case number DEL 23-270, violation A and B. The City of Deltona versus Jesse Gonzalez. The property address is 1668 West Waycross Circle, Deltona, Florida 32725. The parcel ID number is 813-055-290-110. The statutory requirements for notification of this hearing have been met by the notice of hearing and notice of code violation sent certified mail to the property owner at the address listed with the property appraiser's records. In addition, both notices were posted at the City Hall at least 10 days prior to this hearing. All the evidence in this case, including photographs, have been marked as exhibits and submitted to Special Magistrate Clerk. I certify any and all photographs to be true and accurate portrayals of what I observed on the day they were taken. It was ruled on November 29, 2023, that the property owner was given 60 days to comply. The owner did not come into compliance within those 60 days and has been receiving a fine of $100 a day, $50 per violation, since January 29th, 2024. As of today, the property has accrued a total fine of $3,000 over the past 30 days. The city is requesting that the fines continue at $100 per day.
Okay, can you walk me through, so the first one was for 304.1 on exterior, so that was related to?
Yeah, so the last,
go ahead.
The first 5 pictures is today's photos. As you can see, there's a tarp still on the roof. And in that picture, I took it because you can kind of see, if you look towards the left part, you'll see part of the tarp, which is blue, and then you'll kind of see a little bit of sunlight on the right-hand side. So water is getting through. And then the second violation would be the one for repair of the ceiling. Obviously, there's a roof. There's a hole in the ceiling. Oh, there you go. Well, that wasn't today's picture, but.
Okay, and that is, that's in a different location in the house, right, than the first?
No, that's all in the same area. So I took pictures, yeah, so that's the tenant's living room. And that's where it's at. So that's exactly where the hole is. The hole is literally where this tarp is at.
Okay, thank you.
And you can
Okay.
kind of see there better, the tarp on the side.
Yes,
And on the top.
thank you. All right. I find that the notices were properly given in this case. I'm admitting the case file as an exhibit, and I find respondent in this, I find respondent in this case failed to correct the violation by the time specified in the special magistrate's prior order in this case, and the fine will be imposed as set forth in that order and will continue to run until the property is brought into compliance and an affidavit of compliance has been filed by the code inspector. Respondent shall notify the code inspector to verify compliance.
Thank you.
Okay, this is case 24-002, A and B, Massey 1627 Saxon Boulevard. Good evening. Go ahead.
My name is Todd Mead. I'm employed by the City of Deltona as a code compliance officer. This will be Massey case number DEO 24002 A and B. The City of Deltona versus Lucille Marceau Estate. The property address is 1627 Saxon Boulevard, Deltona, Florida 32725. The parcel ID number is 813-009-130-240. The statutory requirements for notification of this hearing have been met by the notice of hearing and notice of code violation sent certified mail to the property owner at the address listed with the property appraiser's record. In addition, both notices were posted at City Hall at least 10 days prior to this hearing. All of the evidence in this case, including the photographs, have been marked as exhibits and submitted to the special magistrate clerk. I certify any and all photographs to be true and accurate portrayals of what was observed on the day they were taken. It was ruled on January 24th of 2024 that the property owner was given 30 days to comply. The owner did not come into compliance within those 30 days and has been receiving a fine of $175 a day since February 24th of 2024. As of today, the property has accrued a total fine of $875 over 5 days. The city is requesting that these fines continue at $175 per day. The city has decided to move forward with abating the property due to the public nuisance becoming an immediate health and safety matter for the general public, immediate concerns for the surrounding properties. So on this.
Are these pictures from, no, these are the older pictures.
Yeah, there are some today pictures in there. This is violation A, which is the soffit and roof edging not repaired or.
Okay.
And so that still sits as the same. And then the septic is still in disrepair, the plumbing. There was just a recent call from the Volusia County Sheriff's Office to help us, to notify us that they saw the sewage leaking. They went there to serve some papers on the property. So we went out there yesterday as well. The cap was on it today when they took the picture, but that does not clear up that they still, on occasion, especially when it rains, that the sewage is still leaking into the street. So the city was going to act on this in some form of possibly pumping out, coming on property. I did talk to the tenant. They hadn't done anything. They said they were going to do anything, but also there's speculation that this is not technically the tenant, and the landlord agreement is not the property owner. Property owner is deceased from 2014. And the city was able to, through the housing department, notify the housing and urban development. The information was forwarded to them, so they're the actual property owner, and we're trying to get them to at least act on these cases once the city has done their part to make it safe.
Okay, so, but you do not have pictures of the septic?
From talking to the tenant, the septic is in the front of the property, where this is a sidewalk, just to the left here. Further back pictures, but where the septic drain field is what he indicated to me. That's where it was. So that area of the pump out is throughout the whole case that I've been involved. It's been off. with the posting and me talking to him, I think he put the cap on it yesterday thinking it would be okay, but it's still, actually, the cap was on and the hole was dug deeper to help some of the drainage out, but picture I took is this today, you can see that they had done some washing out of the driveway, and this was this morning, but it was throughout yesterday that it was wet. So they were potentially allowing some health issues arising from that property.
Okay. So I guess my only question, how do we know that with the cap that it's not now corrected?
Just with the way that the sewage has been noted leaking out onto the road, and I've walked up to the property to see that this overflow of water has still been around there.
Okay, but didn't you just say that they just put the cap on?
They just put the cap on it as of the other day, but that does not make the compliance of where the sewage and the health hazard that's being caused by the leaking out into the street that the city wants to be addressed.
But they put the cap on very recently, right? Like in the last couple of days?
There's a picture from the 26th. So there it's off, so they put it on within 24 hours.
Within the last, yeah.
So it doesn't do anything to
I guess my question is, how do I know that now that they put it on, that they didn't come into compliance? I mean, how do you know that it's still seeping out?
The deputy called yesterday on the 27th. He was going to serve papers. He called to the city, said there's a major sewage leak here on Saxon, 1627. I was en route of going home early. I went by the property and saw that I could see what he was mentioning. I was off that rest of the day, but I did make record of it with the other officer that was Kristen that was here earlier.
You were present?
I was present, but she had called me as I was heading out, and I went by and checked the property, and it was in this state.
So you were present yesterday?
Yes.
And saw that there was still sewage leaking out?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Okay. I find that the notices were properly given in this case, and omitting the case file as an exhibit. I find that respondent in this case failed to correct the violation by the time specified in the special magistrate's prior order in this case, and the fine will be imposed as set forth in that order and will continue to run until the property is brought into compliance and an affidavit of compliance has been filed by the code inspector. Respondent shall notify the code inspector to verify compliance. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. This is DEL 24-017, A and B, 2435 Academy Avenue. Go ahead.
My name is Janice Pulaski, and I am employed by the City of Deltona as a code compliance officer. This will be case number DEL 24-017, A and B. The City of Deltona versus Karen Blakicki. The property address is 2435 Academy Avenue. The parcel ID number is 813-032-150-060. The property is being brought before the special magistrate for more than one violation. These violations are as follow. Violation A, this is a violation of the City of Deltona Ordinance, Section 66-8E, which states that no vehicles may be parked or stored in the front yard forward of the edge of the principal dwelling except on an approved driveway or driveway extension. Corrective action for said violation is all vehicles parked in the front portion of the property must be on an approved driveway or a driveway extension. Vehicles may also be parked on the side of the house, behind the front face, or in the rear of the yard. All vehicles must have a current tag and be operable, or they must be stored in an enclosed garage. Violation B, this is a violation of the City of Deltona Ordinance, Section 66-19-3, which states that boats, trailers, recreational vehicles shall not be parked or stored either within a public right-of-way or within that portion of the lot lying across the full width of the lot behind the front line and frontmost part of the principal structure. Corrective action for said violation is park boat, trailer, or RV on the side of the house behind the front face or in the rear yard, but not within the side street yard. Please move the vehicle to proper parking area or remove from the property. All vehicles must have a current tag and be operable, or they must be stored in an enclosed garage. The statutory requirements for notification of this hearing have been met by the notice of hearing and notice of code violation was sent certified mail to the property owner at the address listed with the property appraiser's record. In addition, both notices were posted on the property and at City Hall at least 10 days prior to this hearing. All of the evidence in this case, including photographs, have been marked as exhibits and submitted to the special magistrate clerk. I certify any and all photographs to be true and accurate portrayals of what I observed on the day they were taken. Violation A, on October 22nd, 2023, after addressing this property for other violations, I noted there was a vehicle improperly parked on the left side of the property. I spoke with the son, Jeff, who resides at this property, and explained to him that the vehicle that was parked on the left side of the property was improperly parked and needed to be moved to either a driveway or an approved driveway extension or behind the front face of the house. Due to previous history with the same violations, a notice of violation was then posted to the property. On February 9th, 2024, I re-inspected the property and the vehicle was improperly parked on the side of on the left side in the front yard. I posted a notice of hearing to the property and completed an affidavit of service. As of today, February 28th, 2024, the property is still in violation. Violation B, on January 18, 2024, after addressing this property for other violations, I noted there had been a trailer improperly parked on the left side of the property. I also spoke with the son again, who resides at the property, and explained to him that the trailer was improperly parked on the left side of the property and needed to be moved behind the front face of the house. Due to previous history with the same violations, a notice of violation was posted to the property. On February 9th, 2024, I re-inspected the property, and the trailer was still improperly parked on the left side in the front yard. I posted a notice of hearing to the property and completed an affidavit of service. As of today, the property is still in violation. The city would like to request 30 days for the property to come into compliance or a fine of $25 per day per violation for a total of $50 to be imposed until such time that the property owner notifies the city of compliance.
Okay, so for the first violation, are we talking about, is that a truck or an SUV?
Yeah, the truck that's parked over there on the left
Okay,
side.
and so it looks like it's on some kind of a driveway, but I don't see a driveway apron. Is that the problem?
Yeah, the driveway is on this side of the property, on the right side.
It's on the other side?
Yes.
So what did they try to create, like a parking pad?
He tried to on that side of the house.
Okay, but there's no driveway apron for him to come in and out there? Okay. And then
There's a trailer behind there. You can kind of see the wheel of it.
Yeah, so then, can you go back to the previous pictures? Yeah, so that is easier to see, so that's a trailer?
There's a trailer, yes.
Okay. All right. Is it a boat trailer?
No, it's just, he's a scrapper. He's just stores stuff on it.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay. I find that the notices were properly given in this case, and I'm admitting the case file as an exhibit. I find respondent in this case in violation of the city code is charged, and that respondent correct the violation before 4:00 p.m., both violations by 4:00 p.m. on March 29th. In the event respondent does not comply by the state, a fine in the amount of $25 per day for each violation will be imposed for each day the violation continues past the aforestated date. Respondent is further ordered to contact the code inspector to verify compliance with this order. Thank you. DEL 24-023, 2857 Cortlandt Boulevard. Go ahead.
My name is Janice Palasic, and I am employed by the City of Deltona as a code compliance officer. This will be case number DEL 24-023, the City of Deltona versus Sway 2014 Bar LLC. The property address is 2857 Cortlandt Boulevard. The parcel ID number is 813-032-840-060. This is a violation of the City of Deltona Ordinance, Section 18-5, adopting the latest edition of the International Property Maintenance Code, Section 302.7, which states all accessory structures, including detached garages, fences, and walls, shall be maintained and kept in good repair and good and sound structural condition. Corrective action for said violation is to repair or remove the structure and/or obtain a permit if needed. The statutory requirements for notification of this hearing have been met by the notice of hearing and notice of code violation were sent certified mail to the property owner at the address listed with the property appraiser's records. In addition, both notices were posted on the property and at City Hall at least 10 days prior to this hearing. All evidence in this case, including photographs, have been marked as exhibits and submitted to the special magistrate clerk. I certify any and all photographs to be true and accurate portrayals of what I observed on the day that they were taken. On October 6, 2023, after addressing this property for other violations, I noted the fence was in disrepair. I attempted to make contact with the tenant, but was unsuccessful. A door hanger was left explaining the violation as well as the corrective action. After returning to reinspect the property on October 2023, I noted that the fence was still in disrepair. A notice of violation was posted to the property. On October 28, 2023, I was able to make contact with the tenant who gave me the information for the property owner. I reached out and spoke to Andrew Barker and explained to him that the violation and the violation and what the corrective action was. He assured me that the fence would either be completely removed or repaired. On February 12, 2024, there were still parts of the fence that had not been removed. Notice of hearing was then posted to the property as well as an affidavit of service was completed. As of today, February 28, 2024, the property is still not in compliance. The city would like to request 30 days for the property to come into compliance or a fine of $25 per day to be imposed until such time that the property owner has notified the city of compliance.
Okay, so they started removing the panels, but not all of them?
There's a small section on the left-hand side that's still up and in disrepair. They removed the right side and the back portion.
Okay.
But they have a small little section on that left side that's still up and in disrepair. It's hard to see with the glare of the sun. You can see the outline of the fence on the left.
Okay. All right, I find, find that the notices were properly given in this case. I'm admitting the case file as an exhibit. I find respondent in this case in violation of the city code as charged, and that respondent correct the violation before 4:00 p.m. on March 29th. In the event respondent does not comply by the state, a fine in the amount of $25 per day will be imposed for each day the violation continues past the aforestated date. Respondent is further ordered to contact the code inspector to verify compliance with this order.
Thank you.
All right, this is 24-025, 1497 Jupiter Avenue.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Tyler Russo. I'm employed by the City of Deltona as a co-compliance officer. This would be case number DEL 24-025, the City of Deltona versus Barbara Miller and Johnny Miller. The property address is 1497 Jupiter Avenue. The parcel ID number is 813-043-370-080. This is a violation of the City of Deltona Ordinance, Section 18-5, adopting the latest edition of the International Property Maintenance Code, Section 304.1, which states that the exterior of a structure shall be maintained in good repair, structurally sound, and sanitary so as not to pose a threat to the public health, safety, or welfare. The corrective action for said violation is to repair, replace, or maintain in good repair any exterior surfaces, the roof. Obtain permits if required. The statutory requirements for the notification of this hearing have been met by the notice of hearing and notice of code violation were sent certified mail to the property owners at the address listed with the property appraiser's records. In addition, both notices were posted to City Hall at least 10 days prior to this hearing. All of the evidence in this case, including photographs, have been marked as exhibits and submitted to the special magistrate clerk. I certify any and all photographs to be true and accurate portrayals of what I observed on the day they were taken. This case was opened on August 25th, 2023 for a tarp covering the roof. Through the progression of this case, I have not made contact with any resident or owner of the property until the day of the notice of hearing was posted. A resident came outside and approached my vehicle and spoke with me briefly about the tarp and how it's in the process of getting taken down so the work can be done on the roof. I informed the resident regarding the property that it's getting taken before the magistrate on this date as of today. Currently, I have not made any other contact with the resident afterwards, and the property still remains in violation. The city would like to request 30 days for the property to come in compliance or a fine of $25 a day to be imposed until such time that the property owner has notified the city of compliance.
Okay, I can see that there's definitely a tarp over a large section of the roof. I find that the notices were properly given in this case, and I'm admitting the case file as an exhibit. I find respondent in this case in violation of the city code is charged, and that respondent correct the violation before 4:00 p.m. on March 29th. In the event respondent does not comply by the state, a fine in the amount of $25 per day will be imposed for each day the violation continues past the aforestated date. Respondent is further ordered to contact the code inspector to verify compliance with this order.
Thank you.
Okay, this is Fire 24-0014, 2901 Howland Boulevard.
Good evening. For the record, my name is Samuel Schaller. I'm employed by the City of Deltona as the Assistant Fire Marshal. This will be case number Fire 24-0014, City of Deltona versus Cole FD Portfolio 3 LLC. Property address is 2901 Howland Boulevard, Deltona, Florida 32738. Parcel ID is 813-039-130080. This is a violation of City of Deltona Ordinance, Chapter 42, Article 4, Fire Codes, Chapter 42-186, which adopts the most recent edition of the Florida Fire Prevention Code as adopted by the State Fire Marshal, which contains the Florida-specific version of NFPA 1 Fire Code, Section 13.1.1, which states that the authority having jurisdiction shall have the authority to require that construction documents for all fire protection systems be submitted for review and approval, and a permit be issued prior to the installation, rehabilitation, or modification. Further, the AHJ shall have the authority to require that full acceptance tests of the systems be performed in the AHJ's presence prior to final system certification. Corrective action for said violation is to obtain a permit for the installation of the fire alarm cellular communicator and pass all final inspections. Statutory requirements for notification of this hearing have been met. The notice of hearing and notice of code violations were sent certified mail to the property owner at the address listed with the property appraiser's records. In addition, both notices were posted on the property and at City Hall at least 10 days prior to this hearing. All of the evidence in this case, including the photographs, have been marked as exhibits and submitted to the special magistrate clerk. I certify any and all photographs to be true and accurate portrayals of what I observed on the day they were taken. On March 21st, 2023, Permit was issued for the installation of a NAPCO Starlink fire alarm cellular communicator. Permit expired on September 18, 2023, with no passing inspections. Notification was made to the property about the expired permit on October 20th, 2023, December 5th, 2023, December 19th, 2023, January 2nd, 2024, January 10th, 2024, and February 6th, 2024, all with no response. As of today's date, the fire alarm communicator is still installed and no permit has been issued. The city would like to request 30 days for the property to come into compliance with the remainder of the violations, or a property of $25 per day until such time that the property owner has notified the city of compliance.
Okay, I'm sorry, you said $25 per day in 30 days?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. I find that the notices were properly given in this case. I'm admitting the case file as an exhibit. I find respondent in this case in violation of the city code as charged, and that respondent correct the violation before 4:00 p.m. on March 29th. In the event respondent does not comply by this date, a fine in the amount of $25 per day will be imposed for each day the violation continues past the aforestated date. Respondent is further ordered to contact the code inspector to verify compliance with this order.
Thank you.
And now this is Fire 24-0016, 1120 Elkham Boulevard.
For the record, my name is Samuel Schaller. I'm employed by the City of Deltona as the Assistant Fire Marshal. This will be case number Fire 24-0016, City of Deltona versus Cahoon Deltona LLC. Property address is 1120 Elkham Boulevard, Deltona, Florida 32725. Parcel ID is 813-026-010010. This is a violation of City of Deltona Ordinance, Chapter 42, Article 4, Fire Codes, Chapter 42-186, which adopts the most recent edition of Florida Fire Prevention Code as adopted by the State Fire Marshal, which contains the Florida-specific version of NFPA 1 Fire Code, Section 1.7.12.10, which states no construction work shall proceed till the AHJ has reviewed the plans for compliance with the applicable codes and standards and the applicable permits have been issued. NFPA 1, Section 11.1.2.1, which states all new electrical wiring, fixtures, and equipment shall be installed in accordance with NFPA 70, the National Electrical Code. NFPA 1, 4.5.8.3, which states no construction work shall proceed. Excuse me, that was a typo right there. NFPA 1, Section 4.5.83, which states that existing life safety features which are obvious to the public shall either be maintained or removed. And NFPA 1, Section 14.4.2.1, which states no furnishings, decorations, or other objects shall obstruct exits or their access thereto, egress therefrom, or visibility thereof. And NFPA 101, Chapter 7.9.2.1, which states emergency illumination shall be provided for a minimum of 1.5 hours in the event of failure of normal lighting. Corrective action for said violations is to obtain a permit for the demolition of the wall inside of the pro shop and all associated electrical work, obtain a permit for the newly installed electrical conduit in the kitchen, and bring the electrical conduit into compliance with NEC 70, National Electrical Code, remove all remaining fire sprinkler heads from the defunct fire sprinkler system from the golf cart barn, remove all items obstructing the means of egress in the golf cart barn, and repair the non-functioning exit emergency light combination fixture inside of the golf cart barn. Statutory requirements for notification of this hearing have been met. Notice of hearing and notice of code violations were sent certified mail to the property owner at the address listed with the property appraiser's records. In addition, both notices were posted on the property and at City Hall at least 10 days prior to this hearing. All of the evidence in this case, including the photographs, have been marked as exhibits and submitted to the special magistrate clerk. I certify any and all photographs to be true and accurate portrayals of what I observed on the day they were taken. On August 3rd, 2023, Fire Safety Inspector Joy Bailey conducted a fire inspection at this location. Amongst other violations, which have since been corrected, he observed a newly constructed wall with electrical receptacles constructed in the middle of the pro shop. Upon review of the approved building plans from the permit set when the building was constructed, it was shown that this wall was never permitted, nor was part of the permit set, nor were any subsequent permits issued for the construction of this wall and the associated electrical. In addition, a kitchen exhaust hood was observed installed inside of the kitchen with no permit on file for such installation. Inside of the cart storage building, it was observed that there was a non-functional fire sprinkler system still installed that had the water supply removed. However, the fire sprinkler heads were still in place, giving the public and building occupants a false sense of security that a fire sprinkler system was provided for the building. It's important to note that this fire sprinkler system was authorized to be disconnected several years ago. However, the property owner never finished with the disconnecting by removing the fire sprinkler heads. It was also found on the east side of the cart barn, the exit sign / emergency lighting combination fixture did not function under emergency power, and there were multiple objects obstructing the marked egress door. A re-inspection on October 26, 2023, found that no violations had been corrected and found an additional violation. New electrical wiring, not installed in accordance with NFPA 70, was installed in the kitchen to provide power to a cooler. No permit was found to be on file for the installation of this cooler. In addition, the connections of the electrical wiring were exposed and not placed in a junction box, and the electrical conduit was not properly strapped, in contrast with the requirements of National Electrical Code NFPA 70. Upon a re-inspection on January 17, 2024, the interior portion of the kitchen exhaust hood had been removed. However, the hole in the wall was not repaired to its original state, and the exhaust fan on the outside of the building remained, and it was not able to be verified if the associated electrical wiring had been removed and properly secured. While serving the notice of violation and notice of hearing to the property on February 13, 2024, it was observed that the wall inside of the pro shop had actually been removed. However, there was still exposed electrical wiring, and the interior was not restored to its original condition. Permit BLDC 240005 was applied for on January 9, 2024 for the interior wall only. However, it was denied by plan reviewers on the same date and then subsequently canceled by the permit applicant. To date, no permits have been issued for this property, and all other violations remain outstanding. A demolition permit will be required to remove the wall due to the fact that there is associated electrical work with it. In closing, due to the fact that this building is currently operating and open to the public and the imminent hazards present with the electrical wiring inside the kitchen and the exposed electrical wiring in the walls, we are requesting 7 days for compliance with NFPA 1 11.1.2.1 to bring the building's electrical that was newly installed in code, and then 15 days for the property owner to come into compliance with the remainder of the violations. We're requesting a fine of $25 each per violation.
Okay. So can you, again, a lot of information.
There's a lot going on here too.
Yeah. So can we just quickly go through it? So on 1.7.12.10, which requires a permit for construction, that relates to them constructing the wall. Now that has been removed. Sorry.
I'm sorry about that. That relates to the construction of the wall and the associated electrical, and to the construction of the kitchen exhaust hood inside the kitchen. On this picture here, this is where the hood was. They removed it. However, it looks like they've put a piece of, if we could go back, like particle board to cover the hole. And then on the next picture, the non-compliant exhaust fan still remains.
Okay, so basically for both items, they attempted to correct it by then removing the wall and removing the hood, but they didn't really fully remove all of the, I don't know, associated
electrical.
Yeah,
and-
thank you. Yes, it goes along with them. Okay.
That's correct, Your Honor. And then upon talking with the building official, a permit will still be required because of the fact that they modified electrical, and there's no way to verify that that electrical's been put back to its original state without having an electrician pull a permit.
Okay. Is that what you're referring to with 11.1.2.1?
11.1.2.1 would be two other pictures that we have, one would be this picture. That is also newly installed, non-permitted electrical work. If we see...
The wire?
Yes, Your Honor. The conduit is not properly strapped. It's just freely hanging. And then if we can go to this picture, this is the imminent hazard that we're requesting 7 days for compliance for correction. That's live electrical wiring exposed inside a kitchen next to an ice machine in a wet location.
Okay. Then 4.5.8.3, that's related to the fire sprinkler heads that are still in place.
Yes, Your
and
Honor.
that need to be removed.
That's correct, ma'am.
Okay, and then 14.4.2.1 is furnished, something's blocking the exits. What's blocking the exits?
A lot of things.
Okay.
It seems it seems the door itself may not open anymore. As we can see the decay. On this side of the door, this is the interior of the door, they've got an extension cord across it, a rock, and several pieces of wood. And then on the other side of the door, there's all of these, I don't know what exactly, there's some sort of like step stool carts that they have piled in front of the door on the outside of the door. What's that? Oh, right. They're golf bag holders.
Okay. And then 7.9.2.1 is the emergency illumination is not working.
That's correct.
Okay. I think that's all of them, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Okay. I find the notices were properly given in this case. I'm admitting the case file as an exhibit. I find that respondent in this case is in violation of the city code as charged, and that respondent correct the violations as follows. For violation of 11.1.2.1, that needs to be corrected by 4:00 p.m. on, I think we said that was March 6th, right?
Yes, Your Honor.
7 days, all right? And in the event that respondent fails to comply by that date, a fine in the amount of $25 per day will be imposed for each day the violation continues past the aforestated date. With respect to the violations of 1.7.12.10, 4.5.8.3, 14.4.2.1, and NFPA 101 7.9.2.1. Those will need to be corrected by 4:00 p.m. on March 14th, which would be 15 days. And in the event the respondent does not comply by that date, a fine in the amount of $25 per day for each violation will be imposed for each day the violation continues past the aforestated date. Respondent is further ordered to contact the code inspector to verify compliance with this order. And again, Renee, if possible, can we get this order expedited? Yes, okay. I think that's it. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, that is the last case. Anything else before we adjourn? Okay, we are adjourned. Thank you.